Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. Chief of Defense Staff assures that insecurity bedeviling Kaduna will soon be long forgotten. Gunmen abduct 25 travelers along Owo Ifon Benin Expressway in Ondo. On the foreign scene, voting commences in Slovakia's keenly contested parliamentary election. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Tunde Ido. We begin with security matters, where the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has assured that the insecurity that is currently disturbing the peace in Kaduna State will soon be a thing of the past. He made the pledge while responding to an appeal by the Kaduna State Governor, Ubasani, to prolong the stay of special forces in the ongoing war against banditry, kidnapping, as well as expanding the Operation Safe Haven in southern Kaduna. Governor Sani said the military intervention he was requesting for will help in addressing the lingering insecurity in Zango, Katav, Kaura, Kauru, Sanga, as well as Beringwari, Giwa, and Igabi local government areas. The Chief of Defense Staff was at the Kaduna State Government House to interface with Governor Sani as part of his non-kinetic approach towards addressing the lingering insecurity in the state. Responding to the governor's appeals, CDS Musa said the armed forces are determined to bring the ugly situation to an end. The CDS said that it is important that the Nigerians take ownership of the challenges in the country, adding that the insecurity challenge is not for Kaduna military or the police alone, as everyone has a role to play.
For the prolonged stay of the special forces in the ongoing campaign against banditry and terrorism. I similarly want to highlight the need to expand the operations of Operation Safe Haven in southern Kaduna general area due to the challenges around Zango and Katab, Kaura, Kauru, and Sanga local governments. Such an expansion will go a long way in containing threats and consolidating the ongoing efforts in those areas. Similar measures are required in Benungwari general areas to restrict bandits and terrorists from using the Kaduru, Kuyambana, and Kamuku forests as a refuge or hideout.
We're expanding our view and then making sure that we cover all the gaps that have been identified. We're changing the mode of operation, and as was also said, it will be both the kinetic and the non-kinetic, because we understand that asymmetric warfare, you must take the two operations together. And that's what we're adopting, and that's what's yielding the results that you're saying. We concentrate on securing the good citizens of Kaduna State and environs, and only after the criminals. And our appeal to everyone is that everyone has a role to play in security. It is not only for the military or for the police or for the government. Everybody has a responsibility. What you see, report quickly so that action could be taken.
Meanwhile, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has arrived in Afaka, Kaduna State for the passing out parade and commissioning of cadets of the 70 regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy. The Vice President, who is representing President Bola Tinubu as the reviewing officer, arrived at the Kaduna International Airport at 10 a.m. and inspected a quarter guard at the NDA main gate. He will be presenting the banner to Champion Battalion and awards to the 7 cadets. Among the dignitaries present are the host governor, Senator Ubasani, Taraba State Governor Agbu Kefas, all the service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, amongst others. Over 200 cadets, including those from sister African countries such as Liberia, Sierra Leone, Niger Republic, Chad, and Uganda, are passing out from the Nigerian Defense Academy as junior military officers. In Ondo State, gunmen suspected to be kidnappers have abducted 25 travelers along the Owo-Ifon Benin Expressway in the state. The victims are said to be members of the choir of the Christ Apostolic Church, CAC Okeigan, Akure, the state capital. The abductors were said to have struck at about 3 p.m. on Friday around Elegbeka village while they were on their way to Ifon for a funeral ceremony. The Ondo State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Fumlayo Dulami Umisoya, confirmed the incident via text message. He noted that the incident was reported to the police that an empty bus was with inscription of TSC was abandoned by the roadside around Elegbeka. He said men of the anti-kidnapping squad of the command have been drafted to the area to rescue the victims and apprehend the culprit. Away from security matters, the ruling All Progressive Congress has taken steps towards resolving the lingering feud between the Ondo State Governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, and his deputy, Lucky Aiyedatiwa. The media has been awash in the last few weeks with reports of how Mr. Aiyedatiwa was served an impeachment notice by the State House of Assembly. But the politician has yet to respond to all the allegations in the notice. Reacting to the move in an interview with newsmen, the APC Director of Publicity, Bala Ibrahim, stated that the ruling party was currently exploring the option of an internal mechanism to resolve the crisis. Mr. Ibrahim reiterated that the leadership of the ruling party was not making noise about it because it was a sensitive issue. He also dismissed insinuation that certain elements who were seeing the governor as a lame dog had hijacked his government. To legal matters, the incumbent governors of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun and his Sokoto state counterpart, Ahmed Aliyu, will today know their fate on the challenge of their election. In Ogun, the State Election Petitions Tribunal fixed today for judgment on the petition filed by the opposition People's Democratic Party and its governorship candidate, Ladi Adebutu, challenging Abiodun's re-election after the March 18 governorship poll. The chairman of the tribunal, Justice Hamidu Naza, had reserved the judgment shortly after the two parties opted their written addresses on September 4, 2023. Also, the Sokoto Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal is set to deliver judgment on the suit challenging the election of Governor Aliyu today. The tribunal had in August reserved judgment on the petition against the governor and his deputy, Idris Gobi, filed by Saidu Umar of the PDP. Meanwhile, the Sokoto State Police have banned any form of procession before and after the governorship election. Tribunal delivers judgment. In the meantime, the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the March 18 election in Kaduna State, Issa Ashiru, has asked his lawyers to appeal the dismissal of his petition by the tribunal. The PDP candidate, who addressed a news conference after a meeting with the leaders of his party on Friday, also insisted that the election remains inconclusive. He added that the claim by the state governor, Senator Ubasani, that his election was upheld by the tribunal was misleading. The tribunal had on Thursday dismissed Ashiru's petition challenging the declaration of Senator Uba of the All Progressive Congress (APC) as the winner of the election on the grounds that the petitioners filed their petition outside the stipulated time given by the Electoral Act. However, Mr. Ashiru, while faulting the dismissal of his petition, said he will appeal the judgment at the Court of Appeal to address the gray areas raised by the tribunal.
The state governor, Obasani, claiming that their mandate was upheld at the tribunal. It is unfortunate, most unfortunate. This is misleading and is unexpected of our leader, a leader of his status, the Kaduna State in particular, that happens to be the headquarters of the North. This is unfortunate. The truth of the matter is that we met yesterday with my legal team, and we discussed extensively on the outcome of the judgment. Alhamdulillah, like I've said, the prayers that our people are doing and they are still doing to recover our mandate has yielded fruitful result. The tribunal confirms that the election was not concluded. Therefore, INEC as an institution to withdraw its certificate and conduct elections in 4 local governments where the elections did not take place.
And here in Osun State, lawyers have called for the sitting of a court of appeal and a national industrial court in the state. This formed part of resolutions reached at the end of a congress conveyed by the leadership of all the branches of the Nigeria Bar Association (NBA), which includes Ife, Elisha, Ikirun, Iwo, and Oshogbo. At the congress, which held at the High Court premises in Oshogbo, the legal practitioners said the need for both a court of appeal and a national industrial court in the state was long overdue. Chairman of NBA Oshogbo branch, Olayemi Abiona, who read the communique issued at the end of the Congress, said a 15-member committee was set up to facilitate the sitting of both courts in the state. The Congress also called on the state government to improve the infrastructure in courts across the state while also improving the welfare of judges. The lawyers also agreed on the need to have resident senior advocates of Nigeria in Osun State to improve their level of practice and resolve to sponsor at least one person from each branch to become a stand.
For instance, it is established by even data at the Court of Appeal, where we have our appeals now from Osun State, that majority of the appeals, in fact, 70% of the appeals at the Court of Appeal, Akure, are from Osun State. So even the state that has the Court of Appeal has about 30% of the appeal. So it's long overdue to have a division of the Court of Appeal in Osun State. And the branches of MBA in Osun State at this Congress agreed that we should do everything within our power to have a division of the Court of Appeal in Osun State. And also a National Industrial Court. We have only registry of the National Industrial Court in Osun State. So we go to Ibadan to go and prosecute our matters, our industrial matters. So we believe that we should have National Industrial Court, states that are not even, that were created after Osun State, and in terms of population that are not up to Osun State, they have divisions of the National Industrial Court. So we also discussed the deteriorating level of our courtrooms in the state. Someone mentioned Ife court, that rains will be coming and will be disturbing proceedings. We've also seen instances like that in all other places. So we were concerned about the state of our courtrooms and also the welfare of our judicial officers. It is only when they were properly treated that we can say that they will dispense justice without fear or favor. So we are concerned about that, and we agree that the issue should be raised with the appropriate authorities.
Moving on, Nigerians have reacted to the proposed strike announced by the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC). Nigerians who spoke to Western Spring Television admonished the government to be proactive and give in to the demands of labor union. Alain Gali gives a detailed report on this development.
Nigeria's two biggest workers' union plan to start an indefinite strike next week to protest against the cost of living crisis after the federal government scrapped petrol subsidy. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) said the strike would begin on October 3rd, 2023. In a joint statement, the union leaders said the strike is going to be a total shutdown until the government meets the demands of Nigerian workers. However, Nigerians have diverse opinions on the issue on whether going on strike as proposed by the labor union is a good development or not. Chairman of Osun Civil Society's Coalition, Waheed Lawal, stated that the decision is a welcome development. According to him, the strike would force the federal government to reverse on some of its policies.
The civil society movement, we are in collaborating with the labor movement, and we are going to support them totally to make sure that they succeed in this agitation. Nigerian workers need better life. They deserve better things. Government should not say they were removing a subsidy in a jiff, but they cannot give palliative and cushion in that subsequent thing. It's wrong. Tinubu must brace up for this challenge. We are going to challenge. We are going to grant Nigeria for him.
A legal practitioner, Yomi Obaditon, in his view, thinks the government should be proactive and listen to the demands of the workers so that the proposed strike would not take place, as it is going to be disastrous to the economy.
The leader of India, Nehru Gandhi said, he said poverty is the mother of crime. So if we are going to eradicate poverty, it's not by shrink the labor group. It's not by keeping silent. And it's not by giving palliative to the lawmaker and then no bother about the people who vote you into power. So it is time for government to do whatever is in their hand. If you need to borrow, let them borrow. If you need to persuade, let them do the persuasion. And I think that would be the best approach. But to allow them to go on, that would be economic suicide.
Another Nigerian, Peter Edoka, says it is part of the activities of labor to embark on a strike when they want government to do their demands. But sadly, the masses are at the receiving end afterwards.
Well, that is part of their duty as NLC to protest anytime they are not comfortable with the government's policy. And going on strike is one of the things they need to do as a sign of their protest and to show that they are not comfortable with the decision of government. So it's on the right path, except that, unfortunately, their decision to go on strike, the masses suffer still much more than even the government they are protesting against. If the government choose to listen to them, good for us all. But if not, then it was an effort in futility. So.
Meanwhile, Femi Fadaunsi, in his opinion, feels the labor is all about themselves alone.
Right. They just need money. They just need money. We see, before that day, money will have changed their hands, and I can bet it with you. They are not serious. That's the way I see it. No, Nigerians don't believe in NLC. They are only fighting for their pockets. And quote me well, you see what will happen.
However, Tinubu's administration acknowledges the difficulties and says it distributed funds to state governments to help offset the impact of the economic reforms. Other measures include providing transport options and small business loans. Olayinka Ali, Western Spring Television News.
You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after.
Arrested, affected. Sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sport news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast. Detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Thank you for staying with us, and you're welcome back. Talking business, China's factory activity expanded for the first time in 6 months in September. An official survey showed on Saturday, adding to a run of indicators suggesting the world's second largest economy has begun to bottom out. The Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, based on a survey of major manufacturers, rose to 50.2 in September from 49.7, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. edging above the 50 points level, demarcating contraction in activity from expansion. The PMI, the first official statistics for September, adds to signs of stabilization in the economy, which had sagged after an initial burst of momentum early in the year when China's ultra-restrictive COVID-19 policies were lifted. Preliminary signs of improvement had emerged in August, with factory output and retail sales growth accelerating, while declines of exports and imports narrowed and deflationary pressures eased. Meanwhile, inflation in the Eurozone fell to its lowest level in 2 years in September, suggesting the European Central Bank's steady diet of interest rate hikes was succeeding in curbing runaway prices. Consumer prices in the 20 countries that share the euro rose by 4.3% in September, the slowest pace since October 2021 and from 5.2% 1 month earlier, according to Eurostat's flash reading published on Friday. Inflation excluding food, energy, alcohol, and tobacco, which is closely watched by the ECB as a better gauge of the underlying trend, fell to 4.5% from 5.3%. The readings are likely to strengthen the ECB's conviction that it had raised interest rates far enough to bring down inflation to its 2% target by 2025 after being wrong-footed by a surge that started in 2021. On the foreign scene, Slovaks are voting in a closely contested parliamentary election between left-wing former Prime Minister Robert Fico, who has pledged to end military aid for neighboring Ukraine, and pro-Western liberals. Final opinion polls showed the two parties in a dead heat, with the winner expected to get the first chance to try to form a government to replace the caretaker administration running the country since May. A government led by Fico will mean Slovakia, a country of 5.5 million, joining Hungary as European Union countries challenging the bloc's consensus support for Ukraine, just as the EU looks to show up solidarity in opposing Russia's invasion. A progressive Slovakia's PS government will stay on course on foreign policy, keeping Slovakia's strong backing for Ukraine and putting the country in a pro-integration and liberal camp in the EU. Neither Fico's direction, Slovak social democracy, nor the PS, led by European Parliament Vice President Mikhail Simika, are expected to win a majority, meaning the future government is likely to depend on results for half a dozen smaller parties, from libertarians to far-right extremists. And in the U.S., hardline Republicans in the House of Representatives on Friday rejected the bill proposed by their leader to temporarily fund the government, making it all but certain that federal agencies will partially shut down beginning on Sunday. In a 232 to 198 vote, the House defeated a measure that will extend government funding by 30 days and avert the shutdown. The bill will have slashed spending and restricted immigration, Republican priorities that had little chance of passing the Democratic-controlled Senate. The defeat left Republicans without a clear strategy to avert a shutdown that will disrupt pay for up to 4 million federal workers and hobble everything from financial oversight to scientific research if funding is not extended past Sunday. After the vote, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said the chamber might still pass a funding extension without the conservative policies that had alienated Democrats. Meanwhile, House Democrats leader Hakeem Jeffries has called on the Republicans to work with the Democrats to prevent the shutdown.
House Democrats met earlier today, and we are unified in the position that we support the continuing resolution that is working its way through the Senate and prepared ready, willing, and able to vote for it the moment it crosses over to our side of the Capitol. We just need House Republicans to do the right thing by the American people and put the bipartisan continuing resolution on the floor of the House of Representatives for an up or down vote. What is the alternative? They tried a partisan continuing resolution and they failed. And there is no way out of their Republican civil war. The only path forward is to partner with House Democrats in a bipartisan way. And we're prepared to do just that.
And talking sport, Tyson Fury will take on Alexander Usyk in a historic undisputed heavyweight showdown in Saudi Arabia, promoters announced on Friday. The date of the contest, which will take place in Riyadh, has not yet been announced, though unconfirmed reports said it will be staged on December 23 or in January. Ukraine's Usyk holds the WBA, WBO, and IBF heavyweight belts, while Britain's Fury is the reigning WBC heavyweight champion. The winner of the bouts will become the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the four-belt era. Fury's promoter, Frank Warren, said this was the biggest fight that could possibly be made in the sport. Neither fighters has been beaten in their professional careers. While Fury has won 33 fights with one draw since turning professional in 2008, Usyk has won all 21 of his bouts but defended his titles against Britain's Daniel Dubious in controversial fashion in August. Before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has assured that the insecurity that is currently disturbing the peace in Kaduna State will soon be a thing of the past. Gunmen suspected to be kidnappers have abducted 25 travelers along the Owo-Ifon-Benin Expressway in Ondo State. And on the foreign scene, Slovaks are voting in a closely contested parliamentary election between left-wing former Prime Minister Robert Fico, who has pledged to end military aid for neighboring Ukraine, and pro-Western liberals. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Tunde Ido. Good afternoon.